There is a secret that has been hidden in plain sight for centuries, obscured not by its complexity, but by its utter simplicity. It is a secret that the great metaphysical teachers of the early 20th century, men like Emmet Fox, understood with a clarity that was almost blinding. And the first thing I must tell you, the very first stone we must lay in this foundation of truth, is that there is no such thing as luck. In the divine mind, luck is an impossibility. Chaos is a myth. There is only law, just as the sun does not choose to shine on one flower and withhold its light from another based on a whim. The universal law of supply does not choose to make one man rich and another poor based on favoritism. The sun shines because it is its nature to shine. The law of gravity holds you to this earth not because it likes you, but because it is an impersonal, unfailing principle. So too does the law of abundance operate with a mathematical exactitude that is as precise as the movement of the planets. I am going to reveal to you the specific method that Emmet Fox taught to manifest unexpected money. But you must understand to give you the words without the understanding would be like giving a loaded weapon to a child or a complex surgical instrument to someone who has never studied anatomy. You might achieve a result, but you will not understand the power you wield, and you will not be able to replicate it. Therefore, before we pick up the pen, before we write the sacred words, we must construct the mental equivalent of wealth within your soul. Emmet Fox, that great Irish mystic who filled the Hippodrome in New York City with thousands of seekers during the height of the Great Depression, taught us that life is consciousness. What you see on the outside, your bank account, your home, your debts, your salary, is nothing more than a picture painted by the projector of your mind. If the film in the projector is one of poverty, you cannot fix the picture by scrubbing the screen. You must change the film. Today, we begin the process of changing the film. Emmet Fox discovered that there are certain scientific prayers, not religious pleadings, not begging a distant God for favors, but scientific sentences that, when applied correctly, act like a key turning in a lock. He found that when you write specific words 3 times in a row, you are not merely engaging in a writing exercise. You are engaging in a neurological and spiritual restructuring of your reality. You are activating a divine frequency. But why writing? Why did Fox insist that we must write, rather than just speak or think? This is where the science meets the spirit. Fox taught that the hand is the direct instrument of the mind. There is a circuit of energy that flows from the brain, down the arm, through the hand, and onto the paper. When you think a thought, it is like a bird flying through the air. It is there, and then it is gone. When you speak a word, it is like a ripple in the water. It has impact, but it fades. But when you write a word, specifically with ink on paper, you are giving that thought a physical body. You are taking the invisible and making it visible. You are taking the abstract and making it concrete. The act of writing slows down the mind. It forces the chaotic, monkey mind of the average human to focus on a single stream of truth. Fox explained that writing activates the subconscious mind in a way that is deeper, more permanent, and more authoritative than any other method. It is an act of engraving. You are engraving the truth of God's abundance onto the tablet of your heart. But before I can give you the words, the exact words that healed the finances of thousands, you must understand the theological and metaphysical premise that makes them work. If you do not believe the premise, the words are empty. I want you to pause and really let that sink in. We are not talking about a God who has a lot of gold. We are talking about a God who is the substance of gold itself. We are talking about a creative intelligence that spun the galaxies out of nothingness, that carpets the earth in green grass without a single factory, that feeds the birds of the air without them ever sowing or reaping. Abundance is the nature of the universe. Scarcity is a lie. Scarcity is a man-made illusion born of fear and limited perception. Fox taught that poverty is a disease of the mind. It is a form of spiritual insanity. To be poor is to deny the nature of your Father. If you are a child of the King and you are living in a pigsty, eating husks, it is not because the King has disowned you. It is because you have forgotten who you are. You have forgotten your royal heritage. The scientific prayer is the document of your remembrance. It is your claim check. Consider the year 1935. The world was in the grip of economic despair. Lines for bread stretched around city blocks. Men who had been captains of industry were selling apples on street corners. In the midst of this darkness, Emmet Fox stood at the pulpit and told people that their lack was an illusion. He told them that money was merely a symbol of freedom and that God wanted them to be free. Let me tell you about Maria. Maria was a woman living in that hard year of 1935. She was a widow living in a cold tenement apartment, with bills stacking up like snowdrifts against her door. She had prayed. Oh, how she had prayed, had begged God, she had wept through the night, asking, "Why have you forsaken me?" She had lit candles. She had bargained. "Lord, if you give me money for rent, I will never sin again." But the heavens were silent. The money did not come. Why? Fox would explain it simply. Because she was praying from a vibration of lack. She was affirming her poverty with every beg. Every time she said, "God, I need money," she was screaming to the universe, "I da ocha vi moni wai." And the universe, which acts as a giant mirror, replied, "Yes, you do not have money, so be it." Then Maria met Emmet Fox. He told her to stop begging. He told her to stop outlining how the money should come. She had been thinking the money could only come if she found a job, or if a neighbor paid back a small loan. She was looking at the thimbles while standing next to an ocean. Fox gave her the words I will give you in the next part of this series. He instructed her to write them. He instructed her to change her mind from a mind of wanting to a mind of having. Maria went home. She sat at her small, wobbly kitchen table. She took a piece of paper. She felt foolish at first. The logic of the world told her she was wasting time, that she should be out pounding the pavement, begging for work. But she suspended her human judgment and applied spiritual law. She wrote the words. She felt a shift. 3 days later, not 3 months, not 3 years, 3 days later, a letter arrived. It was from a solicitor she did not know, regarding a distant aunt she had never met, a woman who had passed away in another state. The aunt had left a small inheritance. It was not a fortune to a millionaire, but to Maria it was a fortune. It was exactly enough to pay her debts, secure her rent for a year, and buy a new coat. Was this a coincidence? The skeptic says yes. The skeptic says, the aunt died anyway. The letter was in the mail anyway. The writing of the prayer had nothing to do with it. But Emmet Fox would say, there is no time in spirit. When Maria shifted her consciousness, she aligned herself with the version of reality where that inheritance found her. Had she remained in her vibration of despair, perhaps the letter would have been lost. Perhaps the solicitor would have failed to find her. Perhaps the money would have been eaten up by legal fees. We do not know the mechanics of the how, and we do not need to. We only need to know that when the internal frequency is tuned to the station of abundance, the external music of money must play. Fox documented hundreds of cases like Maria's in his personal archives. He saw that this was repeatable. That is why he called it scientific. If you mix hydrogen and oxygen, you get water. You don't get wine. You don't get gold. You get water. It happens every time. It doesn't matter if you are a saint or a sinner. If you mix the elements, you get the result. So it is with the mental equivalent. If you mix the thought of divine abundance with the emotion of faith and the action of the written word, you get the manifestation of supply. It is law. Now, we must go deeper into the why. Why do we write 3 times? Why not once? Why not 10 times? Fox taught that the human mind has 3 layers of operation in this context: the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious. The conscious mind is the gatekeeper. It is the part of you listening to me right now. It is the rational, analytical, skeptical part. It judges, it says, this sounds too good to be true. When you write the prayer the first time, you are speaking to the conscious mind. You are presenting the argument. You are saying, look at this truth. The subconscious mind is the engine room. It is the servant. It has no will of its own. It only obeys orders. But it is stubborn. It is filled with old programs of money is the root of evil, programs of you have to work hard to survive, programs of you aren't good enough. When you write the prayer the second time, without stopping, you are driving the command past the gatekeeper and into the engine room. You are overwriting the old code. The superconscious mind is the God self. It is the spark of divinity within you. It is the part of you that knows no limitation. When you write the prayer the third time, you are sealing the contract with your own soul. You are vibrating in harmony with the infinite. But there is a condition. Fox was very strict about this. You cannot fool God. You cannot write these words with a heart full of fear and expect a miracle. The ink on the paper is just ink. The magic, if we must use that word, is in the faith that propels the hand. Faith is not hope. I want you to banish the word hope from your vocabulary during this process. Hope admits that the thing is not yet here. I hope I get the money means I do not have the money. Faith is different. Faith is knowledge. It is the same feeling you have when you turn the handle of a faucet. You do not hope, water comes out. You expect it. You know the reservoir is full. You know the pipes are connected. You turn the handle with absolute nonchalance. That is the attitude you must have when you write these words. You are turning a spiritual faucet. The water of abundance is already there, pressing against the valve, waiting for you to open it. Let us speak of Carlos. Carlos was a student of Fox, a businessman who had fallen on terrible times. He was on the verge of bankruptcy. He owed a sum of money that was, frankly, impossible to pay with his current income. His creditors were calling daily. The shame was eating him alive. He came to Fox and said, "I have ruined my life. It is over." Fox looked at him sternly. Fox was not a sentimental man. He was a teacher of truth. He said to Carlos, "You are worshipping your debt. You have made a god out of your creditors. You are bowing down to the idol of lack." Fox told him, "Stop thinking about the debt. Stop thinking about the creditors. Stop trying to manipulate the pieces on the chessboard. Go home and treat your consciousness." Carlos followed the instructions. He wrote the words. He did not write, "Dear God, please help me pay my debt." That focuses on the debt. He wrote the words of affirmation that acknowledged that his supply was already present. The next morning, Carlos went to his office. He sat at his desk, not in despair, but in a strange, calm expectancy. At 1100 a.m., a man walked in. It was a client from 2 years prior, a client who had disappeared, owing Carlos a significant sum of money, a sum Carlos had written off as a bad loss, a sum he never expected to see again. The man placed a check on the desk. He said, "I have not been able to sleep. I knew I had to make this right." The check was for the full amount plus interest. Now analyze this. Did Carlos call the man? No. Did Carlos threaten him? No. Carlos changed his own vibration. And because we live in a universe of energy, that shift in Carlos's signal went out like a radio wave. It found the receiver, the conscience of that former client, and it compelled him to act. The universe physically rearranged itself to reflect Carlos's new internal state. This is the law of correspondence as within so without. If your inner world is a chaotic storm of worry, your outer world will be a chaotic storm of bills and unexpected expenses. If your inner world is a calm sea of trust and gratitude, your outer world will smooth out, and ships laden with gold will sail into your harbor. Fox taught that the how is God's business. The what is your business. Your job is to define the what abundance and then step aside. Most people fail because they try to do God's job. They write the prayer, and then they immediately start worrying. But where will it come from? Will I get a raise? Will I win the lottery? The moment you do that, you have dug up the seed to see if it is growing. You have killed the process. You must be willing to be surprised. You must be willing to let the money come from a source you never imagined. It might come as a check in the mail. It might come as a refund. It might come as a gift. It might come as a sudden idea for a business or a solution at work that brings you a promotion. It might come as finding a 100 bill on the sidewalk. Do not despise the small beginnings. I want to address the skeptics again, for the skeptical mind is the enemy of manifestation. You might be thinking, this sounds too easy. Just write some words. It is not easy. Writing the words is physically easy. But writing them with faith, writing them while your stomach is churning with anxiety about rent, writing them while your logical mind is screaming that you are a fool. That is not easy. That is the hardest work in the world. That is why so few people are truly master manifestors. It requires discipline. It requires mental muscle. Fox called it mental dieting. Just as you would not eat poison if you wanted a healthy body, you must not dwell on toxic thoughts of poverty if you want a healthy wallet. Every time you think, "I can't afford this," you are taking a dose of poison. Every time you say, "Money is tight," you are swallowing arsenic. The preparation for this technique is as important as the technique itself. You cannot do this while you are watching the news and angry at the government. You cannot do this while you are fighting with your spouse. You must enter the secret place of the Most High. This is why Fox recommended the early morning. The world has not yet assaulted you with its negativity. The ether is quiet. Your subconscious is porous, open to suggestion. Before you even pick up the pen, you must wash your mind. You must sit in silence for a moment. You must forgive anyone who owes you money. This is a crucial block many people miss. If you are holding a grudge against someone who cheated you, You have tied a knot in your own hose of supply. You must cut them loose. You must say, I release you and I let you go. My good does not come from you, it comes from God. When you release the grudge, you open the channel. The ink you use matters, not for superstitious reasons, but for symbolic ones. Fox suggested blue or black ink. Permanent ink. Never pencil. Pencil can be erased. Pencil is tentative. You are not making a tentative suggestion to the universe. You are issuing a royal decree. You are signing a treaty with the divine. The permanence of the ink signals to your subconscious that this is a done deal. It is immutable. And the paper. Use a clean sheet. Do not write this on the back of an old envelope or a grocery list. Treat the occasion with dignity. If you were writing a letter to a king, would you write it on a scrap of trash? No. You are writing to the King of Kings. You are writing to the source of all life. Show respect to the process, and the process will respect you. We are approaching the moment where I will reveal the words, but I need you to understand one final concept before we move to part 2. It is the concept of grace. Many of you believe you have to earn your abundance. You think you haven't worked hard enough, or you haven't been good enough, or you have made too many mistakes in the past. Fox taught that this is nonsense. Do you earn the air you breathe? Did you work hard to make your heart beat? No. These are gifts of grace. They are given freely because you exist. Abundance is the same. It is part of your factory settings. You do not earn it, you accept it. The prayer we are about to learn is a prayer of acceptance. It is not a prayer of transaction. You are not buying God's favor with your writing. You are using the writing to open your own hands. Imagine a man standing in a rainstorm holding a cup. He wants water, but he has placed a lid on the cup. The rain is falling all around him, torrents of water, gallons of it. But his cup is empty. Is it the fault of the rain? No. Is the rain holding back? No, the problem is the lid. Your limiting beliefs. I can't. It's too hard. I'm not lucky. These are the lid on your cup. The ocean of God's abundance is raining down on you right now, at this very second. It is flooding the room you are sitting in. The words I am about to give you are the tool to remove the lid. When you remove the lid, you don't have to try to get the water in. The water rushes in automatically. It cannot help but fill the cup. That is the law. So, are you ready to remove the lid? Are you ready to stop begging the rain to fall and start catching what is already falling? In the next segment, I will give you the exact text. I will guide you through the 3 sentences that carry the vibration of pure supply. I will teach you the rhythm of the writing. And I will share the final, secret step, the burning, that seals the manifestation in the spiritual realm. But for now, I want you to make a commitment. I want you to commit to yourself that you are done with the story of lack. I want you to decide right now that you are willing to let go of your old identity as a struggling person, because you cannot be both. You cannot be the struggling victim and the divine heir at the same time. You must drop the one to pick up the other. Prepare your pen, prepare your paper, and most importantly, prepare your heart. The flow is about to begin. We have arrived at the threshold. You have prepared your mind. You have understood the law. Now, we must engage the instrument. We are about to enter the Holy of Holies of this demonstration. What I am about to give you are not merely words to be recited like a nursery rhyme. They are keys. And like any key, if you do not insert them into the lock of consciousness with precision, they will not turn. You are sitting in your quiet place. The world is shut out. The phone is off. The door is locked. It is just you and the infinite presence. You have your pen, your blue or black ink, and your white paper. You are going to write 3 sentences. But you must understand that these sentences are constructed with a specific spiritual architecture. Every noun, every verb, every adjective has been chosen to dismantle a specific blockage in the human mind and to construct a specific bridge to the divine mind. You will write the first sentence, then you will write the second, then the third. That is 1 round. You will then take a breath and write them all again. That is the 2nd round. And then you will write them a 3rd time. Why this repetition? Why not just write it once? Because we are penetrating layers of resistance. The first time you write it, your intellect reads it. The 2nd time, your memory records it. The 3rd time, your spirit knows it. Let us dissect the first sentence. You must understand what you are writing, or it is dead ink. Stop. Look at what you have just written. The first 4 words are the most important words you will ever write in your life. God is my source. Most of you do not believe this. You think you believe it, but you do not. You believe your job is your source. You believe your investments are your source. You believe the economy is your source. You believe your pension is your source. This is the great error. This is the idolatry that keeps you in fear. If your job is your source, then you are a slave to your boss. If the economy is your source, you are a victim of Wall Street. If your husband or wife is your source, you are dependent on a human being. When you write, "God is my unfailing source," you are making a radical declaration of independence. You are cutting the mental umbilical cord that ties you to the systems of this world. You are saying, the job is just a faucet, the bank is just a pipe. But God is the water. If a pipe breaks, does the water stop existing? No. The municipality simply routes the water through another pipe. If you lose a job, has your source dried up? Impossible. God cannot dry up. He simply routes the supply through a new channel. You must focus on the word unfailing. Write that word with pressure on the pen. Unfailing. It means it cannot stop. It implies a continuity that is eternal. The sun does not fail to rise. Gravity does not fail to pull. The source does not fail to provide. If there is a lack of supply in your life, the failure is not in the sender, it is in the receiver. This sentence fixes the receiver. This is the trap breaker. The human mind loves to outline. You sit there thinking, I need money. Okay, maybe if I work overtime, I will get it. That is an expected channel. Maybe if I sell my car, expected channel. When you limit God to what you can expect, you are strangling your miracle. You are telling the infinite intelligence that it is only allowed to work within the tiny boundaries of your human logic. By writing own expected channels, you are giving God permission to surprise you. You are opening the door to the miraculous. You are admitting that you do not know the best way, but He does. I recall a woman in Chicago who used this phrase. She needed $5,000 for a tuition payment. She looked at her salary. There was no way. She looked at her savings empty, but she wrote unexpected channels. 2 days later, she received a call from the city. Years ago, she had overpaid a property tax bill on a house she no longer owned. They had been trying to locate her. The check with interest was just over $5,000. She could never have expected that. She had forgotten it entirely. But the divine mind had not forgotten. The unexpected channel was there all along, waiting for her permission to open. And finally, this protects you. You do not want money through tragedy. You do not want an insurance settlement because you lost a leg. You do not want an inheritance because someone you love died prematurely. You want supply under grace. Grace means it comes easily. It comes without sorrow attached to it. It comes as a gift, not a struggle. When you write under grace, you are putting a spiritual filter on the manifestation, ensuring that what comes to you brings only joy. Now, without stopping, you write the second sentence. This deals with the psychological barrier of worthiness. You will write, I accept and receive all the abundance that the divine mind has prepared for me from the foundation of the world. Many of you are comfortable asking. You are comfortable begging. But you are terrified of receiving. Deep in the subconscious of the race mind, there is a belief that poverty is holy and wealth is sinful. There is a belief that you are not good enough to be rich, that you have sinned too much, that you are broken. This sentence acts as a spiritual solvent to dissolve that guilt. Look at the words, accept and receive. To accept is a passive agreement, to receive is an active taking. You must do both. You must agree that it is yours, and then you must open your hands to take it. And what are you receiving? Not something new, not something you have to manufacture. You are receiving what has been prepared for me. This is the theology of the pre-existing good. Fox taught that your supply is not created the moment you ask for it. It was created before you were born. Imagine a suit of clothes. Before you walk into the tailor's shop, the fabric exists. The thread exists. The tailor has the skill. In a sense, the suit is already there, waiting for your measurements. In the divine mind, your wealth is already a finished fact. It is prepared. It is sitting on the shelf of the spiritual realm, labeled with your name. It has been there from the foundation of the world. When you write this, you are not trying to convince God to give you money. You are reminding yourself that the money is already yours. You are the prodigal son coming home, not to beg for scraps, but to accept the robe and the ring that the Father has held in safekeeping for you. You must write this sentence with a feeling of relief. The struggle is over. You don't have to make money. You have to take possession of it mentally. I want you to feel the weight of the pen as you write, foundation of the world. Feel the ancient, eternal nature of your prosperity. It is not a fleeting paycheck. It is an eternal inheritance. You are a child of the universe. Do the trees struggle to grow leaves? Does the rose struggle to be red? No. They simply accept the flow of life from their source. You are now doing the same. Now we come to the seal, the final lock. You will write, I give thanks for the immediate demonstration of this financial good, which reaches me now in ways that surpass my human understanding. This is the most scientifically powerful sentence of the three. It contains the vibration of gratitude. In the world of physics, action and reaction are equal and opposite. In the world of metaphysics, gratitude is the reaction that forces the action. Usually, people wait to see the money, and then they say, thank you. That is the backward way of the human. That is reacting to the past. The spiritual scientist says, thank you, first. Why? Because when you say, thank you, you are sending a signal to your subconscious that the event has already happened. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a real physical event and a strongly impressed emotional thought. If you write, I give thanks, with genuine feeling, your subconscious thinks, oh, the money must be here, and it immediately goes to work to align your outer reality with that inner truth. Jesus stood at the tomb of Lazarus. Lazarus was dead. The body was rotting. There was no life. And what did Jesus say? He did not say, God, please bring him back. He said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. He gave thanks before the dead man walked out. He acknowledged the answer before the demonstration. That is the faith that raises the dead. And that is the faith that raises a dead bank account. Notice the word, immediate. We are not asking for money next year. We are claiming it now. There is no time in God. All of God's power is concentrated in the eternal now. By writing immediate, you are collapsing the timeline. You are bringing the future into the present. And finally, surpass my human understanding. This is the surrender of the intellect. Your intellect is limited. It is a tiny calculator. It can only calculate based on the data it has, your past, your education, your current job. The divine mind is a supercomputer with infinite data. By writing this phrase, you are saying, logic, sit down, be quiet. You are too small for this. You are admitting that the solution is bigger than your brain. You are taking the burden off your own shoulders. You don't have to figure it out. You just have to say thanks. Now, let us talk about the mechanical process. This is where the discipline comes in. You have written the 3 sentences once. Do not stop to check your phone. Do not stop to get a sip of coffee. Do not stop to let your mind wander to your grocery list. You must maintain the heat of the mental friction you are generating. Go immediately to the next line. Write sentence 1 again. God is my unfailing source. As you write it the second time, try to feel it deeper. The first time with the second time is the conversation, then sentence 2, I accept and receive. Then sentence 3, I give thanks. Now you have written them twice. You might feel resistance rising. Your hand might cramp. Your mind might say, this is silly. This is just writing. That voice is the dweller on the threshold. It is the old guard of your subconscious trying to protect the status quo of poverty. It knows that if you finish this 3rd round, its power is broken. Ignore the voice. Press on. Start the 3rd round. God is my unfailing source. This 3rd time, imagine you are carving these words into a stone tablet. Imagine they are being written in fire across the sky of your mind. This is the superconscious activation. Fox taught that the number 3 is the number of manifestation. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit, mind, body, soul, thought, feeling, action. When you finish the 3rd sentence of the 3rd round, you should feel a sense of completion. A click. It is the feeling of a letter dropping into the mailbox. It is gone. It is sent. It is done. While you are writing, you must strive for a state of flow. Do not worry about your handwriting. If it is messy, let it be messy. The subconscious does not care about calligraphy. It cares about intensity. Do not let your pen lift from the paper unnecessarily. Keep the connection. Let the energy pour through your arm. If a doubt comes into your mind while you are writing, for example, if you write divine supply, and your mind screams, you are broke, do not fight the doubt. Do not argue with it. Just write over it. Let the ink drown the doubt. The positive statement, physically written, is infinitely more powerful than the negative thought, merely thought. The thought is air. The writing is earth. Earth displaces air. There is a man named Robert who attended the meetings in New York. He was a skeptic, a logical man, an accountant. He loved numbers, not miracles. But he was desperate. He had made a calculation error that cost his firm thousands, and he was facing termination and a lawsuit. He went home and applied this scientific prayer. He told me later that the first time he wrote it, he felt like a fool. The second time he wrote it, he felt angry. But the third time he wrote it, he felt a strange, cold peace wash over him. He finished the writing. He put down the pen. The next morning, he went into the office to pack his things. He was called into the senior partner's office. He expected to be fired. Instead, the partner held up a file. A frantic audit overnight had revealed that the error was not Robert's at all. It was a software glitch in the new accounting system. The firm was not only keeping him, they were apologizing. Robert asked me, "Was that a miracle?" I told him, no, it was a realignment. When Robert wrote those words, he moved his consciousness out of the room labeled error and loss, and into the room labeled divine order. In the room of divine order, mistakes are corrected, truth is revealed, and justice is done. The external facts, the software glitch, were revealed only because his internal light was turned on. You are turning on the light. I want to touch briefly on the materials again, for the tangible anchors the intangible. I said to use blue or black ink. This is because these are the colors of authority. We sign contracts in blue or black. We do not sign contracts in pink or glitter. This is a contract. You are signing a treaty of prosperity with the universe. Treat it with that level of gravity. And the paper, let it be unlined if possible. Why? Because lines represent boundaries. Lines represent the rulers of the world. You must stay within the lines. You can only earn this much. You can only go this far. When you write on blank paper, you are writing on the infinite. You are saying, there are no boundaries to my good. There are no lines I cannot cross. You are creating your own structure, not following the world's structure. While you are in the act of writing, you must be vigilant. Fox called this standing porter at the door of thought. If you catch yourself thinking, I wonder if this will work so I can pay the rent on Tuesday, you have introduced a contamination. You have introduced Tuesday. You have introduced rent. God does not know Tuesday. God does not know rent. God only knows abundance now. When you write, strip your mind of the specifics of your problem. Do not think about the credit card bill. Do not think about the broken car. Think only of the words you are forming. Source, supply.
Flows, grace, thanks.
Let these words fill your entire horizon. Let them become your entire world for those 10 or 15 minutes. If you can do this, if you can exclude the problem for just the time it takes to write these 3 sentences 3 times, you have broken the mesmerizing power of the negative condition. You have stopped feeding the beast, and a beast that is not fed must die. Once you have written the final word of the final sentence, understanding, put the pen down. Do not read it over to check for spelling errors. Do not analyze it. Sit with the paper. Look at it. This piece of paper is no longer just wood pulp. It is a charged battery. It holds the imprint of your focused desire and your spiritual claim. You are holding your mental equivalent. Fox taught that you cannot have a thing in the outer world until you have the equivalent of it in your mental world. If you want a house, you must have the idea of a house. If you want a trip, you must have the idea of the trip. This paper is the physical evidence that you have built the mental equivalent of money. It is the bridge. In the next and final part of this instruction, I will tell you what to do with this charged battery. I will teach you the ancient ritual of release, the burning, that Fox shared only with his inner circle. This is the step that scares people because it requires total trust. It requires you to destroy the very thing you have just created to prove that you believe in the invisible power behind it. But for now, look at your paper. Read the words one last time, not with your eyes, but with your heart. Feel the vibration rising in your chest. That is the feeling of chains breaking. That is the sound of the prison door unlocking. You have done the work of the scribe. Now you must prepare for the work of the priest. Do not leave this paper where others can see it. This is a covenant between you and the Most High. Fold it. Keep it close. And prepare yourself for the final act of faith. Your abundance is not coming. It is here. It is caught in the ink. It is waiting for the fire. We have arrived at the final movement of this symphony. The paper is written. The ink is dry. The mental equivalent has been constructed within the architecture of your mind. But a blueprint is not a building. A seed is not a tree. For the blueprint to become a structure, work must be done. For the seed to become a harvest, it must be planted. And to plant a seed, you must do the one thing that terrifies the human ego more than anything else. You must let it go. You cannot hold a seed in your fist and expect it to grow. As long as it remains in your hand, it is safe, yes. You can look at it. You can control it. But it remains sterile. It remains alone. It is only when you bury it in the dark, damp earth, when you surrender it to the unseen forces of the soil, that the shell cracks and the life force is unleashed. Today, we take your scientific prayer and we plant it. We are going to move from the law of creation's writing to the law of release of burning. This is where the boys are separated from the men in the spiritual life. This is where the true student of Emmet Fox stands apart from the mere wishful thinker. Before we commit the paper to the flame, there is an intermediate step that bridges the silence of writing and the finality of burning. It is the spoken word. You are holding the paper. You have written the 3 sentences 3 times. Now I want you to stand up. Do not sit. Stand. Why? Because standing is the posture of command. A king does not issue decrees from a slouching position. A general does not command armies while lying on a sofa. You are a divine sovereign claiming your heritage. Stand up straight. Breathe deeply. Read the words you have written aloud. But do not just read them, declaim them. There is a difference. To read is to gather information. To declaim is to send out a vibration. The Bible tells us that death and life are in the power of the tongue. Metaphysics confirms this. Sound is vibration. When you speak these words, you are taking the mental energy you generated during the writing, and you are clothing it in physical sound waves. You are literally vibrating the air around you with the frequency of supply. Read the first sentence. God is my unfailing source. Let your voice be firm. If you are alone, shout it if you must. Let your own ears hear the conviction in your voice. You are convincing your own subconscious. Read the second. I accept and receive. Feel the resonance in your chest. Read the third. I give thanks. Say this softly, with a sense of awe. Jesus said, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life. Your words are now spirit and life. They are no longer just ink on wood pulp. They are living entities. You have breathed the breath of life into your prayer. Now we come to the fire. Fox taught this only to his advanced students because it is easy to misunderstand. We are not burning the paper as a superstitious spell. We are not practicing witchcraft. We are practicing psychological release. Why fire? Because fire is irreversible. If you throw a paper in the trash, you can go back and dig it out. If you put it in a drawer, you can take it out and look at it. And every time you look at it, you are saying, I am checking to see if it's working. Checking is doubt. Doubt is the killer of manifestation. Fire takes the decision out of your hands. Once that paper catches the flame, there is no going back. It turns into ash and smoke. The form is destroyed. The body of the prayer is gone. This forces your mind to accept that the prayer has moved from the physical realm of paper to the spiritual realm unseen. It is the ultimate act of trust. You are saying, God, I trust you so much that I do not need to keep a copy of this request. I know it is heard. Take the paper. Hold it to the candle flame. As it catches fire, drop it into your burning vessel. Watch it burn. Watch the words debt. Say if you thought them, and lack disappear into smoke. Watch the words abundance and source return to the ether. It is done. Those were the last words of Jesus on the cross. It is finished. He didn't say, I hope this works. He said, it is finished. The work is complete. The transaction is closed. Watch the paper turn to ash. Do not look away. This visual of the paper disappearing is a message to your subconscious the burden is gone. You are no longer carrying the weight of the problem. The fire has consumed the problem, and the spirit has absorbed the solution. Once the fire is out and the ash is cold, take the ashes. Go outside. If you live in a city, find a patch of dirt, a potted plant, or even the wind. Scatter the ashes. Fox loved the parable of the sower. The seed must fall into the ground. By returning the ash to the earth, you are symbolically grounding your manifestation. You are connecting it to the physical world. You are saying, Earth, bring forth my harvest. Do not keep the ashes in a jar. That is hoarding. That is attachment. Scatter them. Let them go. Wash your hands. Walk away. Now begins the most difficult part of the scientific prayer. The days after, you have written, you have spoken, you have burned. Now you must wait. But this is not a passive, lazy waiting. This is an active, vibrating expectancy. Emmet Fox gave us the golden key. To this waiting period, do not outline the channel. I cannot stress this enough. This is where 90% of people fail. They do the ritual perfectly. They burn the paper. And then 5 minutes later, they start thinking, okay, I burned the paper. Now, surely that means my boss will give me a raise on Friday? Stop. You have just outlined the channel. You have told the universe how to do its job. You do not know where your money is coming from. And frankly, it is none of your business. Your business is the what abundance. God's business is the how. God has millions of channels. Maybe the money comes from a refund. Maybe it comes from a gift. Maybe it comes from a new idea that strikes you in the shower, which leads to a patent. Maybe it comes from finding a forgotten bank account. Maybe it comes from a stranger. If you decide it must come from your boss, you have closed all those other doors. You have welded them shut. And if your boss says no, you crash into despair. The prayer didn't work. You cry. No, the prayer worked. You blocked the delivery truck because it wasn't the color you wanted. Let me tell you about a man named Arthur. Arthur was a musician in London during Fox's time. He needed money for a new instrument. He did the prayer. He burned the paper. But in his mind, he decided the money would come from a gig he was trying to book at a specific club. He waited by the phone. The club manager called and said, "No, we don't want you." Arthur was crushed. He thought the law was a lie. He went for a walk in the park, depressed. He sat on a bench, head in his hands. A man sat down next to him, an old friend he hadn't seen in 10 years. They started talking. The friend asked, "Do you still play?" Arthur said, "I can't. My instrument is broken." The friend smiled and said, "That's strange. I have a collection of instruments I inherited from my father. I don't know what to do with them. Would you like one?" Arthur got an instrument worth 10 times the one he was trying to buy. See the lesson? The club was the wrong channel. If Arthur had gotten the gig, he would have earned a pittance. By blocking the jig, the divine mind was steering him to the bench where the miracle was waiting. Do not judge the events of the next few days. If you lose your job after the prayer, do not panic. It might be that the job was the cork stopping the flow. The job had to go so the real abundance could come in. Trust the process. There is another rule Fox was adamant about. Tell no man. Do not go to your friend and say, "Hey, I just did this fire ritual to get money." Do not post about it on social media while you are waiting for the result. Why? Because talking dissipates energy. Imagine a pressure cooker. It cooks the food because the steam is trapped inside. If you keep opening the valve to let the steam out, the food never cooks. Your prayer is the food. Your silence is the lid. When you talk about your prayer to others, you expose it to their skepticism. You say, "I'm manifesting money," and they raise an eyebrow. They say, "Yeah, right, in this economy?" That tiny look of doubt from them acts like a virus in your subconscious. You start to doubt yourself. Keep it a secret. It is a holy secret between you and the Father. Let the result speak for itself. When you have the money, when the miracle is complete, then you can share the testimony. But while the baby is in the womb, you protect it. You do not expose it to the harsh elements. Fox used the analogy of the porter at the door. Imagine your mind is a grand hotel. You are the doorman. In the days after you burn the paper, negative thoughts will try to check in. Fear will show up in a trench coat. What if the rent isn't paid? Doubt will show up with luggage. This is stupid. You just burned paper. You must stand at the door. You must look at these thoughts and say, "You have no reservation here. Get out." Do not fight them. Do not wrestle with them on the lobby floor. Just refuse them entry. How? By replacing them. Every time a thought of lack comes, immediately say, "God is my instant supply." Say it like a reflex. I don't have enough money. God is my instant supply. The bill is due. God is my instant supply. Do not let the negative thought finish its sentence. Interrupt it. Overwrite it. This is the mental diet. It is exhausting at first. You will realize how addicted you are to worry. You are a worry addict. You crave the adrenaline of panic. You must break that addiction. You must starve the worry to feed the faith. Finally, you must act as if the prayer is already answered. This does not mean spending money you do not have. That is foolishness, not faith. Fox never taught irresponsibility. It means walking with the dignity of a rich man. It means losing the smell of poverty. Have you ever noticed that desperate people repel money? Desperation is a repellent. It smells like sour milk. You must wash that scent off you. Dress your best, even if you are just staying home. Clean your house. Order creates a vacuum for prosperity. You cannot ask for wealth to enter a dirty, cluttered home. Set the table with your best plates. Live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you had the money right now, how would you feel? Relieved? Generous? Feel that now. The universe does not hear what you say, it feels what you feel. If you say, I am rich, but you feel terror, the universe hears terror. If you say nothing, but you feel peace, the universe hears peace and brings you the substance of peace, which is prosperity. You are now on what we call the bridge of incidents. This is the time between the burning and the receiving. Strange things may happen. You might meet new people. You might lose things. You might find things. Coincidences will start to pop like popcorn. Pay attention. Follow the nudges. If you get a sudden urge to walk down a different street, do it. If you get a sudden urge to call an old friend, do it. If you get a sudden urge to buy a lottery ticket, not from desperation, but from fun, do it. God moves you through intuition. The prayer has activated your internal GPS, but you must move your feet. You cannot sit on the couch and wait for a bag of gold to drop through the ceiling. You must meet God halfway. The action must be inspired action, not forced action. Forced action feels like grinding gears. Inspired action feels like sliding on ice. It is effortless. Look for the effortless path. My friends, we have built the structure. We have written the law. We have burned the resistance. We have scattered the seed. Now, there is nothing left to do but to praise. End your day, every day, with praise. Thank you, Father. Just that. Thank you, Father. Do not check the soil. The seed knows what to do. The law knows what to do. The sun knows what to do. You are no longer a beggar. You are an alchemist. You have transmuted the lead of your fear into the gold of your faith. The money is coming. It is already on its way. It is rushing towards you with the speed of light, hurtling over obstacles, rearranging circumstances, bending time and space to reach you. Nothing can stop it except you. And you have stopped stopping it. So it is done. Open your hands. Open your heart. And let the abundance of the infinite enter in. If you have walked this path with me, if you have written and burned and believed, then leave a comment below. Simply write, "It is done." Seal it with your public declaration. Subscribe, for there are deeper mysteries yet to be revealed. But for now, go in peace. Your supply is at hand.